welcome back to the Sigma Show, episode 23. I'm your host, Sigma, and we're back from break. We took a little time off for Easter, but we're back. We're gonna keep things moving. We have some news to discuss finally, and before I let you know who's going to be discussing news with me, let's go over real quick what the hell that news is. It actually is. First up, there have been some changes to Twitch's terms of service, I think. Like, they have new rules regarding misconduct that affect people outside of the actual platform. I think that's kind of an interesting thing to talk about, so we'll get into that. There's been rumors about Hideo Kojima working on, some mystery game for PS5. The people behind a recent horror game trailer, Abandoned, had to come out and say, no, this is not Kojima's, mystery game. This is the game we're working on. Thank you very much. And immediately following that was rumors that Kojima might be in talks with Xbox for an exclusive deal. So we'll talk about that. There's a Last of Us Remake currently in development. We'll talk about why that's a thing that they could be possibly trying to do. And finally, a more controversial type subject. There's a Muslim civil rights group who's actively calling for a ban of the game 6 Days in Fallujah. They're petitioning Microsoft, Valve, Sony, any platform holders to basically restrict this game from being made. And we'll talk about maybe why they would want to do that and what that could mean for games as a whole. But to talk with me about these very important, very interesting topics are Ash Redux.
Yeah, the boy with the crooked disc plates in the back. God, I gotta fix those.
Rexicon Jesse.
Oh, that's me with coffee in my mouth as soon as you said my name.
I'm sorry, I'm going from like a visual line. So, and then Superman Jeff.
Yep. What's going on, everybody? Oh, it's Katana Man Jeff today. Don't forget that.
Oh, right. He's recently been renamed Katana Jeff thanks to Tommy Salty from last night's Free For All Friday. Go watch the video to get that context. Yeah, Honey Money knows Katana Jeff. So, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining me today. Let's jump right into things. First up, these new Twitch rules, right? So if you don't know, and I'm personally not familiar with the incident that occurred that kind of made this happen, but the long and short of it is Twitch has started up some new rules where if your conduct is found to be lacking, let's say, even outside of the Twitch platform, like say you say something racist, sexist, just bad behavior that's unbecoming of someone that Twitch would like to be represented on Twitch. Of course, those are means for being, banned or restricted in some way. But if they find out that you're doing these sorts of things elsewhere, off of Twitch, you're not in a stream. You're like, on the internet, like maybe on Twitter, maybe on YouTube, a competitor, and you're doing these sorts of things. And then you come back to Twitch and act like everything's all hunky-dory. Twitch is like, nah, we know what has happened, and you're banned here now because of that. What is your guys' take on that kind of sweeping, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not regulation, but, like, they're kind of watching you. Like, even when you're not on their platform, if they get wind of the kind of person you are, they can still decide that they don't want you on their platform. Like, how does that sit well with you guys? Or does it sit well with you guys?
Go ahead, Jeff.
It's not new. It's not something that's new. If you've seen this where somebody who works for a company did something crazy and it gets videoed, that person usually got fired, correct? Because they represent that company. So it's kind of the same thing where you represent Twitch in all forms of facets, whether that's in person, on social media. If you're linked to having a Twitch account and you do something crazy, obviously they're going to ban you to prove that they don't condone what you did. It's kind of distance themselves from you. So even though they're just now mentioning that it's a policy, it's really something that everybody's kind of adopted. So like if I go, whether I have my work shirt or not on, and I go and do something crazy, and my job finds out about it, I would be let go because it's kind of the same thing. Like, hey, this is the best way to show that we don't condone what this person did. And I mean, I guess it makes sense because just because they're playing one character on Twitch, but actually being who they are somewhere else, doesn't take away from whatever they're doing that's damaging whatever people they're trying to affect with it, Hey, Twitch is where I make my money, but here I can say whatever left wing or whatever right wing stuff I want to say, and no matter who it offends, it doesn't really matter because if I get banned from Facebook, guess what? That doesn't matter. I don't get paid here. I get paid over here. So they're hitting them where their pockets are, which kind of makes sense. Like, hey, don't be a shitty person. If you're gonna stream, carry it across all platforms.
I get what you're saying. Anybody else have a different take, similar take?
So, because I definitely agree with Jeff, right? So, like, if you're working for somewhere and you're representing that company, they can do that. They don't want that associated with their brand. So I'm wondering, like, is that something that should only be taken into account for like actual affiliates and partners, or should that really just go even for just the average user on Twitch? Like, I get it; it's still associated with Twitch, right? If someone's like, if someone does something crazy, and for some reason on the media they decide to pull that this person streams on Twitch from time to time, Twitch doesn't even want that connection led back to them. So I get it. But it just feels weird when it's not like you're not the employee like yet. And even when you're like, like an affiliate or a partner, you're not necessarily like an employee person. In my mind, you're almost like you're contracted, but you're still more associated than just the average person, that's on the platform. So I get the process. I just wonder if in my own mind, if I feel like it's right that it applies to just the average person who's not actually getting anything out of Twitch other than just them providing their own things on the service. They are using their platform. I'm sure, when it comes to things being privately owned, they can do what they want technically with their company. So I'm sure it's fine legally to do that. It feels a little weird. It feels like a little extra when I think about it in a normal sense, but when I think of it on a platform where everything is about your online social presence or whatever, I get it. So I get it. I don't know if I fully agree. I'm like in a weird in-between space, but I definitely understand what they're doing. I wish they put more effort into improving their platform instead of just trying to do this right now, though. Just to be fully honest, I'm not going to get off topic with that today, but there's a lot of improvement that Twitch could be doing to just improve the quality of life of being on the platform in general. But yeah, I'm sure there's toxicity everywhere. They're not going to catch everybody regardless. They're probably not even going to look that hard if you're not that big of a streamer anyway. So I doubt it impacts the little guys that much unless somebody reports it. So I don't know. I don't know if it's that big a deal. I know some people don't like the vagueness or ambiguousness sometimes when Twitch puts out emails and stuff, and they're like, to our discretion, but people want some like more very strictly defined concepts and ideas of what that means. But I feel like it's not going to be that big of a deal, like Jeff said, honestly, at the end of the day, regardless of who does what. But
no, I get what you're saying.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, real quick, Honey Money in the chat says, didn't someone recently get banned for farting on stream?
Oh God,
I've not heard of this, but that does raise an interesting question because it's kind of what Ash was talking about. Like, Twitch defines what the rules are for, staying or going on their platform. It's their platform. They built it. They can police it, right? But like, what like that seems too far. You know what I mean? Like, if that's true, if that's what actually happened, and there's always going to be like this gray area when it comes to policing, society, like just social norms and like what's socially acceptable several years ago changes as it, as people, learn more about each other or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So I do find that there is sort of a tinge of like, well, is this a good thing? Like, I understand what the purpose of it is, but like, I'm glad you brought that up, Ash, is that, yeah, who does it actually affect? Who does it police and stuff like that? Like, Jesse, did you have thoughts on this?
I think both of you hit it pretty well. I would only say the kind of counter to what you're talking about with like, well, with who, like if you're not part of the business, should it affect you? But I feel like it's closer to like, if someone else could use your Twitter account to say what they wanted to, they're not getting paid for it, but it's coming off from your platform. Mm-hmm. You have an association with whatever they say because it's coming from your Twitter account. Even if you have like, we have 8 people who all tweet from, the open party or whatever. And then someone says something, it's like, all right, but that's coming from you as the entity, and that is going to reflect badly on you as each individual person in the entity. So I can understand why, even if they are not getting paid for it, they are not affiliates or whatever, that it still does matter.
That's a good point.
Real quick, do you think it? Oh,
no, go ahead.
Go ahead, Joe. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I was gonna say, do you think it only matters because we still have people who can't like fully understand the distinction between like when it comes to content creators online, that just because they're on that platform that they're not speaking for that platform? Because I do think that's an issue mostly with like older generations, especially on the media. Something might be like, oh yeah, there's a Twitch streamer on here who's doing XYZ, and they can't discern like, oh, that's just one person in the crowd. That's not like the platform is speaking for it. Not saying that they still shouldn't get banned or whatever, but I feel like that's why they have to be so having their rules so that it can be more written down somewhere like, hey, we do have the rights to do this, so people can't have the backlash or anything like Lampy said too. But also just because like we're still at a time where people aren't making that distinction as well. Like this person doesn't speak for the platform just because they didn't catch this one person. They have such a huge I guess installment. I don't know what word to use for amount of people who stream on Twitch and use the platform.
User base.
User base. Thank you. They're not gonna, they're never gonna catch every single person, no matter what. So it's like, do you feel like that's why they have to have the rules and stuff, just because they have to show on their end, hey, we don't agree with this. We're looking for them. Please show them to us. We'll get rid of them too.
Right.
I wonder if that's like part of it. I was thinking out loud, I guess.
Okay, and Lampy just went and double-checked. What Honeyman was referring to apparently was a person who was banned for showing how she had the talent of queefing on demand, and it was only for 3 days.
It's a little different.
I mean, it's a little different. But
I mean, all she had to do was say, "Nah, I just lied on stream. I was actually farting." So I mean, yeah, you can. That's something you can. Not saying to lie, kids, but you could get out of that.
But
one.
I still think that does seem a little like an overstretch. Like if that's the kind of content that her fans like, maybe, like they go there for that kind of stuff. Fine.
Stop
right?
saying it. If they go there for that kind of stuff,
like, that's what they're into. Who am I to judge? But no, all of that makes perfect sense. It's like I don't think there's a right answer to this. That's like the point. I feel like Twitch is doing their best to mitigate damage because, like, say they do leave it open for interpretation, right? Like, because you can make the argument, well, if you don't like what someone is saying on the thing, that like, don't watch it, right? Like, go find somebody else. Like, if it's that bad, then they won't have any viewers, and then they'll shrivel up and die as like a content creator, right? They'll find their audience, and that audience will be pleased, perhaps, right? But that can become dangerous because what if that audience are all kind of feeding this cycle of like ignorance, violence, agitating, stuff like that, then that's a thing that other people, even if they don't want to watch it, would be like, well, this shouldn't be here because it's causing a problem. It's causing a spiraling effect. And Twitch, as the owner of the platform, you should actively do something about that.
Because also,
so, like,
this is one act of violence, and it's like, well, why didn't you stop this? Why didn't you intervene before it got to where it is? And I think that's part of it. Because like you said, if somebody is given a message of hate, and somebody takes that as their mission, and they carry that out, and they see that, well, this person spent a lot of time on this Twitch channel, which promotes this, that, and this, and it leads back to them, it does shine a negative light on them, then they're more reacting instead of being proactive.
Yeah, and as someone who kind of admins a community myself, like the Open Party, like we do try to keep it from devolving into anything like that. Like we don't try to react to it. We try to tell people from the front, like, this is the kind of behavior we expect and whatnot. And if someone is kind of stepping off the reservation, I think people would expect us to act on that. So like I think it does work in the same vein. It's just knowing where that line is. And like when you're such a big company as Twitch has become now, and there's all these other tiny, insignificant content creators on the platform, like it's impossible to really police it in like a clean cut way. But at least they're trying, which I can't be too mad at. That's kind of what I take from this. Like it's not going to be perfect, but at least they're not saying like, well, it's the Wild Wild West. Everyone's free to do whatever they want to do.
Right.
you guys handle it, because sometimes it can become a problem, without some kind of oversight or intervention.
I just like that you use the term Wild Wild West, like the Will Smith movie, and not Wild West, like the
it's Casey's favorite movie.
Big Will.
You heard it here today.
I'm
it's
not going to
Casey's
pretend I
film.
don't like that movie. Like,
it's a good movie.
Like, it's a fun time.
I was like, why was it bad? What did y'all expect? Just go in and enjoy. Gee. Sorry, off tangent. I'm back.
No, I mean, well, any other final... Honeyman says everyone loves it. Come on. So are there any other final thoughts on this topic before we move on to the next?
I did just want to point out that Honey Money had said that they felt like it was because they add more weight because it's a woman, and I can kind of see that, because it's if she didn't say anything, you wouldn't know which one she was doing, right? Like if you just heard the sound. So, and you didn't see anything, I'm assuming, based on Honey said that they saw the clip, so I'm going based on what Honey said, that she didn't, show anything different either. She was just said that she could do it. I understand, if anything, I feel like Twitch could have just sent her a warning. They didn't, but at least a 3-day ban isn't horrible. I don't know if this is like her full-time thing. If it is full-time, then that's actually bad. Three days off can hurt. That's gonna hurt. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If it's if she's like, she's just doing it for fun, or if she's affiliate but she's not quite, making like even part-time amounts of money, then it sucks. But at least she didn't get banned. I am happy that they didn't ban her for that. Because they could have, technically, based off of the wording of the email, they could have, if they wanted to, just outright banned her and said that they didn't like that. So, either way, I don't know.
And she was a partner.
She's a partner. Okay. Now, granted, that still doesn't mean she's making full time, but that still means she's at least has a somewhat of enough of a following and a viewer base that have gotten that far. So, I mean, regardless.
The only way to make partner, one of the milestones is your average viewer count of being 75. So that's pretty huge, coming from me with average of like a few people.
It's all right. Let's not put our numbers out there. Though. Yeah, we love them. We love them.
Okay, so we'll move on to our next topic. Not sure how many people have actually seen this trailer, but there's a game that just very recently released a trailer, kind of very early gameplay. I don't think it was actual gameplay even. It was kind of like conceptual stuff for a game called Abandon. It's like some kind of survival horror thing.
Yeah.
Rumors started swirling around the internet that, this game is fake. This is another one of those Kojima plots where he secretly announces some other project through some fake game by a fake name. Like, you guys remember the Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain reveal, right?
People were perplexed.
It looked like Metal Gear Solid. I was like, what is this?
It didn't, yeah. So people thought it was another one of those, and we're like, because there have been rumors about Kojima working with Sony to do something exclusive next, right? Like some horror themed thing. So it turns out that wasn't the case. The devs, though they haven't made a ton of games, are, a small development team that, is being backed by Sony, and like they're working on this game. They said this is not a Kojima project. We're making this game. Please stop saying that. Like, we hope that you'll be, because like when you build up something like that and you find out that it's not the thing you think it is in your head,
they don't want that hype.
You're gonna be disappointed. Yeah, like they don't want that like that stink on the game that they've been working on. So like that makes a lot of sense. But this information came out in a VentureBeats article where someone basically said, like, I know for a fact that this isn't the case because they know that there are talks between Microsoft and Kojima right now for some project. And like this was hinted at in one of the most recent Xbox conference or video thingies, whatever you call them, because Phil Spencer had what is the name of that guy? Lumen or something? Like that character for Kojima Production Studio. He had a figurine of it behind him, and there's been this thing of Microsoft putting clues to what their next big announcement thing is behind people during videos like this. So people have been speculating what that could mean, and they're hoping it means some sort of deal with Microsoft and Kojima. So I'm wondering, how likely do you think that is as a possibility, and what would you kind of want to see if Microsoft and Kojima do work on a project together, knowing that Death Stranding was the last thing Kojima did with a similar deal with Sony? Like, what are you guys' thoughts about this?
Can I just say, I don't know why people were bringing up stuff about that trailer. Like,
did you just watch it?
Yeah, I watched it, and I was like, oh, it's some nice looking woods.
Right.
Yeah, there's nothing there. Like it kind of like doesn't tell you much of anything.
Yeah, it is woods. They look nice. Like, hey, the amount of work it takes to make woods that nice. Good on you for making woods that nice. But okay.
What?
I think that might be part of the reason why. Like, there really wasn't anything to go on. People are very excited when they hear, PlayStation exclusive, right? So, like, they want it to be not a little thing. They want it to be a big thing. And if you see something like this that has kind of no discerning qualities, you try to look up the studio doesn't have a lot under their belt. They're like, this has to be more than what I'm finding, right? This must be linked to something else. And then you get the conspiracy theory that it's a secret Kojima project.
Man, to have that sort of optimism, just wow.
Just pulling straws.
So I will say for me, I just watched the trailer. Now that I've seen the trailer, and I was like, I wouldn't have thought that at all. But when I saw on Twitter that they had, when I first heard about this, and that's also where I heard about the rumor for him and Microsoft from there too. And I saw a screenshot from somewhere in this trailer. I did look at a screenshot and said, I guess that looks like a Kojima-esque ambiance atmosphere from this picture. I don't know. Like, if no one said Kojima, it's one of those things where if you didn't say it first, I wouldn't have tried to look at it with those glasses on, and I wouldn't have thought it at all, regardless. But when they said, I was like, I mean, I guess, but I don't know. Sure, that's how I felt when I saw it on Twitter. After watching the trailer, I was like, I don't feel Kojima in this at all. It just feels like a horror survival game. Like, I've seen this before now when I watched the trailer. No offense to Blue Box if they ever watch this podcast. I'm just saying, like, what you're getting into. I look at it, I know what I'm getting into. That's it. That's all.
Makes sense. Jeff, any reaction from you?
Yeah, like Jeff with the Xbox shirt on. He has to have a reaction about Kojima with Xbox.
Kind of what Jesse said. Like, the trailer, first off, like I said, was just pretty woods. It was very nice looking. It was very visually appealing to the eye, but it didn't tell me or show me anything. And I'm always skeptical of games like that where it just shows me something pretty but never tells me anything about the game. It doesn't get me hyped for the game. It doesn't make me say, oh, maybe I need to have a second look at it. It's like, oh, that's just graphically that looks really good, and as it should on current gen systems. As far as a collaboration between Microsoft and Kojima, to me, there's a such thing as being too forward thinking, like too imaginative, and I think sometimes that's what Kojima runs into. Don't get me wrong, I love all the Metal Gear Solids, but like Death Stranding seemed like it was very ambitious. Like it was a lot that wanted to be done, and nothing I ever saw from that game made me want to play it. Like, even the whole babies in the pod things was just like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, little pod babes. Like,
pod babes.
Fine, great. And then
we coined that, pod babes.
Like, the characters look interesting, like from the cutscenes, like even the enemies and stuff like that. Whatever combat that was in there, from what I saw, didn't make me want to play the game. So while an Xbox collaboration with him would be great, I do hope there's somebody to help pull him back in. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, yeah, that's great. We want to do all these things, but
yeah. You know
what I'm saying?
Like, Death Stranding legitimately felt like he was free of Konami's oversight, and people know the name Kojima. Like, he's critically acclaimed, one of the greatest auteur game developers ever known or whatnot, right? So, give that man a blank check. Like, what could go wrong? And we kind of, not to say that Death Stranding is wrong, because there's people who really like that game.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, but there are people who like legit like what he was going for there. So, like, it's still not really like a constraint on him. Like, it was divisive, and that seems to be like maybe what he wanted. Like, he's trying to push the boundary of the medium, which I'm all for. Like, yes, give me more people who think of games in like this weird abstract way and just want to do something weird and abstract in the medium. But like, I can't deny the fact that like the last Metal Gear Solid I played, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, was just a fun ass video game. Like, it was a great experience playing that game, and I do want something else like that from that creator. if Microsoft is in talks with Kojima for a deal similar to like maybe what Sony did, where they're funding a game is going to be exclusive and he has free reign, because Microsoft doesn't seem to really they don't get too involved when they do these acquisitions. They like pay the money, they get the rights to use it, but they let them do what they want to do with the money. Like, this may be another case where Kojima just kind of goes wild and we won't know what we get. So like, but that sense just makes you feel like it could be something really cool. It could also be something that none of us care about.
Right.
So like, I'm still excited to see that happen because it would be another chance. I'm wondering if Sony still feels the same way after giving him as much money as they did and getting the product that they did. Like, again, like, it wasn't universally like panned or anything, but it was kind of divisive. Like, it wasn't just this big hit that can be tied to the Sony brand forever and ever, right? So I wonder if they somehow now are like, well, if we do this again, we're going to have some say in what happens. And then maybe that's why he's looking at Microsoft now, because Microsoft is still in the boat of like, we just want Japanese game devs to be on our platform. We don't care what you do, just take the money.
Right. And we're talking about a game that probably wouldn't see fruition until like 2025 or 2026 or something.
Well, Death Stranding actually wrapped up a lot sooner than I thought it would. Like, it ended up being kind of a smaller game in scope than what it seemed like.
But I thought he said he was working on the concept for a while before.
Probably, but like to actually make the game, there were news reports about him going shopping with Sony for the game engine he was going to use, and then it was like 2.5 years later we had the full game, and that was very surprising.
That is surprising, actually. Yeah.
I do think if he does have a blank check and is going ham on whatever idea he's got cooking, I think we're gonna know it. Because if you look at the freaking trailers for like Death Stranding versus like Metal Gear Solid, it's pretty clear that you don't know what's going on, and it's probably going to be bonkers. Versus like Metal Gear, where you're like, this is weird, but like military, okay, shooting.
I'm gonna shoot somebody.
Yeah,
right?
like
at some point.
Bullets.
I have seen full explanation videos of Death Stranding, and I'm still not convinced I know what it is. I read a 1-paragraph synopsis of Metal Gear Solid and understand the basics of it. Like, so I feel like if it does, we'll know beforehand which camp that's going to fall in.
Right. Like, we won't have to wait for the actual game to be like, all right, this is one of those.
Yeah.
All I have to say on it, because I have never really played much of Kojima's work. In general, I saw it need to play a Metal Gear Solid, and I didn't play Death Stranding, and I have no intention to. The only reason I remember Jeff said like he didn't have any will or intention to play the game, like he just didn't want to. I feel the same. Well, literally, you know why I knew I didn't want to play Death Stranding? This is all I wanted to throw in, is when the only thing that made me semi-interested was the fact that all the players contribute material to construct a highway. And I just like the aspect of all the players having to dump a bunch of stuff in together to make something that makes basically the game a lot easier, since it's all about walking. No offense to anyone, that's what it looks like to me from the outside in. That looks like it's about walking. So, hey guys, let's all work together and build this stupid highway so we can like take our bike instead of walking. I'm like, that sounds cool. I want more MMOs to do something like that or something, but that's about all I got from the game. Cool MMO feature that should be involved in more MMOs. That's what I got.
Yeah, I mean, and yes, maybe the game that was featured in doesn't necessarily work as a fun or interesting experience for us at least. But that concept, yes, is interesting. There were people who wrote about that shared connectivity thing, because that was kind of like one of the themes in the game, was like trying to reconnect with the rest of the world after this catastrophic event, right? And then having that come through via a gameplay element is smart. Like, that's forward thinking. And like, if you maybe honed in on that versus all the other stuff and like all the celebrity, because like Honey Money's mentioning like he chases celebrities around and stuff. Like, he does seem like there's a lot of self-indulgence in the work now that he kind of has carte blanche to do what he wants. So like, yeah, if someone could just put a little bit of, well, what if he tried it like this? Or just no, we can't do this, Kojima, in his way, then, you know, maybe we could get something that would have more mass appeal. But in that sense, like, why bother then? Like, if this is what this guy wants to make, like, he's very passionate about what he wants to do, and there are people willing to pay for that, let him have at it.
Need
you
that
know?
Silent
Like,
Hill game. That's what he needs. That's what people want. They want that PT Silent Hill game. That's what they want.
Yes, that is correct.
Lampy says it sounds like you're saying Kojima needs to be edited, Casey. I mean, to make something that more people would be fans of, probably.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of two minds about it because there will be enough. I feel like there can be enough of those experiences that appeal to the masses or appeal to us individually from other people. And if Kojima's heart isn't in doing something like that, then don't force them to.
Right.
You know.
I feel
Like it's just. Go ahead.
Oh, if you go ahead and finish.
No, I was just gonna say if he doesn't, like if he wants to do a thing that appeals to mass people, then sure, right? But like having him come up with something because other people are saying you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do that, and then everybody else is happy and Kojima's not. I feel like what's the point then? Like he's gonna lose that creative spark he has. You know what I mean? Like let him go wild if that's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Like don't Sakurai the man. You know what I'm saying? Like.
I don't know how to take that because Sakurai does good work.
He does, but you can tell sometimes he's not happy with the work that he's doing.
Yeah, he's like, well, they forced me to do this. So here you go.
I think there's definitely a balance of the creative person being able to do what they want and someone from the outside being able to help guide that creative energy. Because I write stuff, I make games. Woo, it's fun. I love it. It's great. Everything that I have created has gotten better when someone else comes in and goes, okay, but why did you do this? Everything I've written gets better with an editor. Everything I've created gets better with test players and people who have the interest of the game in mind and have the artistic understanding and being like, I don't want to make this for you. I want to help you make it better. So if you have someone like that in your corner that can help out, that's awesome. And it will make it better. So you were saying, someone would be like, okay, that's a cool idea, Kojima, but you got to rein that in. Like,
No, yeah, that's a really good point.
But yeah, the other side of that is if you have someone that's just overbearing and it's like, but I want stealth mechanics, like, okay, that's going to ruin it just as hard as, sending out the first draft.
Right.
Right. Yeah. It's that balance, right? Like that's what we're chasing here. Apparently there wasn't any oversight at all in the Death Stranding project because it really did kind of just go real weird. So I don't know, but yeah, it's just me personally. I'm not a game dev, so I wouldn't know what the right level of that would be, and I would hope that it wouldn't be the kind of suffocating oversight that he experienced at Konami that made him want to leave and had that relationship go so sour. So yeah, just a better balance.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Casey,
I'm a little quiet.
Yeah, Blue said you're a little quiet.
Hold on, let me raise my gain a tiny bit. Does that sound any better? Let me know.
Yeah, let us know.
Or is everyone else loud? That's also fair, Lampy. We might all just be loud.
Yeah,
Right.
maybe you guys need to shut up. Maybe that's the answer.
I mean, I got my mic is right in my face. It's right here.
Okay, so any other final thoughts on these rumors, Kojima, Xbox, auteurism? No? All right.
Give us Silent Hills, you coward.
Give us Silent Hill.
Heals. That one just heals.
All right, Kojima, rein it in, do Silent Hill, then go crazy. That's what
that needs to be processed. Go crazy, game everybody wants. Go crazy, game everybody wants.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, one for me, one for you. That's what I call it, right? Like with directors. Yeah, do that. That works.
Fair.
So we'll move on to more Sony-related stuff. Not that Kojima is Sony-related. I don't know why I use that as a transition. Anyway, The Last of Us, apparently, Sony's golden calf. Is that a phrase? I'm pulling stuff out of
Just do the Eddie Murphy, the golden child. Just go with that one.
The golden child. The Last of Us, apparently, is going to have a remake. This comes out of a report where apparently Sony Bend, the Days Gone devs, pitched Sony on a Days Gone 2. They're like, hey, we got some ideas for the sequel for Days Gone. And Sony was like, yeah, we don't want that. It's like, go work on something else. And then out of that information came, we're also working on a remake of The Last of Us, a game that released on the PlayStation 3, was re-released on the PlayStation 4, and got a sequel on the PlayStation 4. They're going to remake the first game for the PlayStation 5. Thoughts, opinions, feelings?
All right, here's my thoughts. Milking is understandable because we like money. So I get it, Sony. You want some more money. I honestly like the I didn't play it myself, but I was there with actually Kiba when he got it on PlayStation 3. Watched him play it, had a great time. I got the remaster on PS4. Game looks great. Had my own good time with the game myself. It does not need to be remade again like an actual remaster. If they want to do the whole or a remake, yeah, it doesn't
they're
need
using the word remake,
which is
not
definitely
even a
different. Not remaster. If they and if they remake it, I really just don't. I don't know. I just don't see the point. I think the game looks fine as it is. It still looks good right now. If anything, I don't know like what the frame rate is on or something, but they can do the usual like frame rate boost on the PS5. Honestly, I think that's all people would even care about if it was like at 30 frames per second. If anybody knows what it ran on like PS3 or PS4. But honestly, I think it's for the money. There's not really for a fans thing. I don't know how many people were sitting here like I want a Last of Us remake. I'm sure some were. I don't know how many were really sitting here wanting that.
Like it's a game you can easily go and play. Like it's a modern game.
Right.
So like I can't imagine anyone was like, we need a remake for this game that I can just buy right now and play perfectly without incident.
Unless they add the very few features that they added in Last of Us 2 to make the game any different minus the narrative. Unless they add those features into the game in that remake, and I don't really see the point, which was what, crawling through grass. I'm pretty sure that's literally the only thing that I remember being different in Last of Us 2.
The rope physics looked cool in The Last of Us 2.
I'm sorry. The physics. That's it. Some physics and me going prone in grass, which why wasn't that in the first game? I still think about now. After it's something I didn't even realize I couldn't do in the first game until Last of Us 2. I was like, I couldn't go prone. I couldn't just hide in grass. Why couldn't I do that? But that's besides the point.
There was enough waist high cover to go around. That's why.
But yeah, I don't think it needs a remake. I do think it's just for the money. I rather they just turned it in. Weren't they supposed to be making that into like a TV show or a movie or something?
Yeah, that's still coming. That's going to be an HBO series.
That was fine. I would have liked to, seeing it just be actually acted out, just being able to consume the media by watching it. My wife likes gaming, but there's not one that she wanted to play, and she didn't watch me when I played it, so now she can just watch the show or whatever because she likes the idea, the narrative and everything. She saw the beginning, so everybody gets trapped in the beginning section. So, so yeah, that I don't think it needs a remake. That's my final. I'm done.
Gotcha. Jesse?
Man, well, it's not the fastest turnaround for a remake in the games industry. At least it's got that going for it.
Wait, what is?
I don't know officially, but what was it? The Chronicles of Riddick. That game, came out in 2004. They made a remake in 2009.
Did a remake or just like a
I think he's right. I think it was a remake.
It is. Wikipedia puts it as an expanded remake. So, and it is for a whole nother console generation. It was for 360 versus the Xbox era.
Xbox One. Okay.
At least it says expansive. Maybe they added stuff on what they're probably gonna do with this.
I mean, yeah, but also why?
Why?
But, I mean, I also understand.
Well, you know what?
Go ahead.
Just to add to the why, it's probably because the Xbox, like the OG Xbox, wasn't as widely distributed as a 360, and it was a really good game that they probably just wanted to get. The same thing
Nintendo with Wii U and Switch
on the Wii U and the Switch now. Like, this didn't go anywhere on this platform, so let's release it on this one where more people will actually play it.
But still sell it for $60, but that's fine, whatever.
But which doesn't work in this case because the PS4 was the best-selling console last generation. So
they're Grand Theft Auto 5ing it right now, and just putting the word remake on it. That's what I feel like. They're Grand Theft Auto 5 / Skyrim it right now, just putting it on everything. That's their. We're gonna put it on everything to make money.
Yeah, that's just ports and releases. To slap remake on it really does seem like they're gonna put, unfortunately, more effort into it.
I don't buy it. I really feel like it's going to be very minuscule. It's going to be more of a remaster again, if anything. But I could be wrong.
Then why not say remaster? I think those terms have, at least in the gaming industry, like the people who make games, they've pretty defined them by now. Like a remaster is the same code, like glossed up, and made to work better. A remake is you're making the same game over again as if you're making it for the first time now, just with, you know, all the elements of the first one. And then, like, what's the other one?
Reboot.
A reboot, yeah. It's
A full on
based on the property, but it's an entirely different game.
Right. And when I say remake,
So, yeah.
or remaster, remake, like I think Diablo 2 is a great example where you see what they're doing with Diablo 2, where it's going from that 2D look to a 3D look, and you can go back and forth seamlessly. They redid all the audios, they reshot the cutscenes, they reworked the loot and stuff like that. So like it's a remake, but a lot of things were changed, as opposed to a very linear game that only has one route. To me, I don't see the point of it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see the point. Here's a possible idea for a point, though. Ash, you brought up the HBO series that's going to be coming out as a possible tie-in to an audience who's like, okay, they're hearing about this zombie series on HBO worldwide platform. Tons of people are going to be watching the show. If it's really good, if it's really popular, maybe they'll look into it. Oh, it's from a video game. Oh, can I play that video game? Sony would much rather people have to go find and buy a PlayStation 5 to play that
at $70
video game.
At $70.
Yeah, and pay $70 for it versus them hunting down a PS3 or a PS4 to do the same thing.
I mean,
I think
I don't. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, finish.
I was just gonna say I don't run multi-million-dollar companies, but that seems like an expensive gamble.
They're based off of the Witcher TV show. If that's the case, they're based off the popularity of like the Witcher show. Because I'm pretty sure I remember hearing that they sold a lot more after the show started coming out for The Witcher. Like the sales started rising back up again. So they're like, we're gonna get ahead of the curve. We're gonna have it already. So as soon as the show comes out, they're like, oh, where's that game? It's right there on shelves, baby.
Yeah, it's right there on the newest console,
right
and
there
with the newest graphics for you to play and experience.
Ooh, and
like,
I swear they'll have advertisements for the game in the show. I swear it'll be so product placement for the game. Like the commercials, like I swear the commercials around the show will be like, also play the game on PS5 remade.
I mean, it's HBO. Like if they put a commercial, if they put a commercial with your premium subscription, like I think there's a whole other issue that we have to deal with. But yeah, I'm gonna be that cynical. Like this sounds like it is absolutely for product tie-in, for grabbing money and just selling more PS5s. Like there's no artistic merit to this game being remade. It's all for money, and it's kind of telling that Sony doesn't give a crap about its games anymore. Like everything is a product that's supposed to get them prestige. It feels like. Mm-hmm. Like Days Gone, for example, was something that Sony Bend felt they had to make, even though there were a million other zombie games out on the market. They were like, hey, we want to do this. Sony let them do it. It didn't sell the way they wanted, so they're like, you can't do it anymore. As opposed to, because it didn't hit the high mark of, you know, a Ghost of Tsushima, Marvel Spider-Man. Sorry. So, I mean, like Sony really only cares about the exclusivity, about the acclaim that their exclusives bring them. Like that's all they're kind of laser focused on. And now they opened up the studio that, you know, will make a bunch of movies out of their properties. Like if it can't get turned into a movie, then they probably don't want to hear anything about it. So The Last of Us is probably one of the best recent examples of a property that has movie-like transmedia, you know, appeal. So they're gonna milk it. The second one wasn't as well liked, so we won't worry about that one. We'll go back to the drawing board. That's what it sounds like to me.
We still don't have a Twisted Metal movie, though.
They are still pitching that around, though, aren't they?
Or another game.
Yeah, or another freaking game. I'm just going to be bitter about that every time we bring up Sony. I'm sorry.
And Lampy also says the PS4 version still runs on the PS5. I mean, it's right, but they can't charge you $70 for that, can they?
That's true.
They sure can't.
So keep that in mind. Buy up all the copies you can find for PS4.
Heck yeah. Selling the remaster for $100. Scalp that thing. Oh, sorry. I don't condone scalping.
Don't scalp. We condone scalping here. Okay. So If there's nothing left on the Last of Us remake, we'll move on to our final topic. Muslim rights activists, Muslim civil rights group calls for Microsoft, Sony, and Valve to basically ban the game 6 Days in Fallujah. This game was previously canceled back, I want to say 2009.
Yep, 2009 by Konami.
Right, because there was an outcry. Like, it's based on the second battle of the Battle of Fallujah. Very bloody war. Lots of innocent civilians, it seems, were hurt, killed during this attack on that city. And it doesn't sit well in the collective consciousness of, like, the international community. Like, war crimes apparently were committed during this engagement.
Mm-hmm.
And now Highwire, the studio who's developing this game, people don't seem to understand why they would want to visit this as subject matter for a video game, which is fair, though their messaging hasn't helped them. Though some of their messaging states that the reason they want to do this is because it's essentially a documentary in a video game form that's supposed to tell the story of the soldiers, the civilians who were there when it happened, and also kind of the political climate surrounding those events prior to it happening. But the way it's being looked at from this civil rights group is stating that the game is basically going to be damaging to the image of Muslims. It's basically going to cause hate, fear towards them, and will essentially... the wording may have changed now on the petition that they wrote, but initially it said something along the lines of will inspire like the next mass shooter and hate towards Muslim Americans and stuff like that. And so they're petitioning these platform holders to ban the game from showing up on their platforms, which would essentially kill it as a project because you can't sell a game that doesn't show up on any consoles or platforms, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm just interested in what you guys thoughts are on, first off, them making a game about this sensitive subject matter, and also about a game being made on any sensitive subject matter being banned from being made in the first place or being blocked from being released to the public.
I'm gonna go last on this one. If that's okay.
All right, go ahead.
I do feel like it depends on the content of the game. Because if it's a very thin line. For example, like there's a lot of trauma. So if you remember not Watch Dogs, Watchmen, the TV series.
Yes, the HBO series.
And they showed what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And you see those images. I feel like to say that those images are going to inspire somebody to want to go out and shoot someone, I don't think that's the case. If that person goes out and shoots someone, I feel like they were just looking for a reason to do it. They were already prepositioned to want to go out and hurt somebody. I think if their goal is to educate, kind of like what that was, is to show you what happened and what transpired, then it's different. But if it's just to kind of exploit that and make Muslims the bad guys, and kind of like a lot of the Call of Duty games at the time where, you know, they had one central bad guy was this country, and we were going up against this country, these guys were the bad guys, they were doing horrific stuff, and we were there to stop them. If it's supposed to be historically accurate, and that's what it's set to be, then that can be a little different. But I don't believe it would inspire anyone who already doesn't have some type of hate towards Muslims to hate them. These people would have already had that hate in their heart, and this kind of just, which they can see this anywhere. They can read the story, they can watch a video, they can watch anything that kind of brings that out. They were just looking for a reason to kind of bring those feelings to surface. So, yeah.
Okay. Jesse, your reactions?
I mean, to start, I know nothing about this project. I've heard 6 Day Controversy come up a few times, and I was like, what's that? Sounds like something I'd look into if I had time, and then I would do something else. Even looking for this and reading the article, It's like, I would like to know more about this, but like before we started this, I was writing a script. Like, I don't have a lot of time to dig into it. So everything I understand is extremely surface level and very much just, I don't want to make assessments about the game, but the feelings around it. So like, I think the idea of an interactive documentary is a good idea. That's sci-fi. That's stuff that we can move towards. That's Star Trek holodeck that we've been going towards, since sci-fi. I understand that, and I do think the idea of interactive documentary is good. What Jeff was saying, I think, is true. The content and the execution of it is what's going to matter here, like, and anywhere really. Why are you making this, and how are you portraying it, and how is it coming across to the audience? So while I don't know much about the project, or anything about the project, I can also understand why there would be this reaction towards it, because, man, I can't think of any game that's not been purposefully made to have Muslims be the enemy. Like, that you are supposed to go after them. If they're in it, they're the bad guys. Or even that, just games that are coded as not the game coding, but like
No,
that
I know
the
what you
enemies
mean.
are
Like,
coded
yeah.
to be Muslims or Middle Eastern people. So I can definitely understand that reaction, and it does make me, all of that around it, and a lot of times people just look at it and go, oh no, we're fine. That's not how we thought about it, so it's fine, without taking in the context of how most people do build things with that in mind, and that's the enemy and all of that, and that's not good. But yeah, again, I can't say anything about the project itself because I do not know enough about it.
Right.
And if it is a documentary, they should invite the people who are protesting it to play the game, to judge for themselves if it's a documentary or is it just painting Muslims in a bad light. I feel like that could be a great middle ground. Like, hey, come play it, see what we're talking about. Don't just judge it from the surface, kind of like, because we don't have that insight to see, like you said, what the content is. Invite them to play the game to kind of see what it's about and show them that, yeah, we do mean it as a documentary as opposed to, every other war game that makes people of Middle Eastern descent like the bad guy.
Right. And chat's bringing up some interesting points that we're going to get into, because they say it's trying to explore all sides of the story. Honey Money saying like they interviewed like 100 soldiers and like 26 Muslim civilians, and it doesn't seem like that's enough civilians. And the way the game has been marketed by one of the two leads involved does seem to be a disconnect with the importance of the story, or like the sense of controversy around it. Like, one of the two people involved seems to want to sell it as a military shooter, like as a tactical shooter. We have cool tech, it'll be like just like any other Call of Duty or whatnot. The other person involved is a little more measured in his response, and basically saying like, you want to tell the story of this event through an interactive medium. Like, they've interviewed people, they're talking to people about how they feel about the event. You'll get their side of the story from this situation. I don't know if the number of soldiers versus the number of civilians really speaks to what's in the game. Like, because again, we don't know. I don't think anyone has had any extended time with this game and have seen kind of what's in it yet. But it does kind of make it seem like they're leaning more heavily on the soldier side. And even without seeing what's going on, that does seem problematic, because that was kind of the problem in the first place, was that the city was kind of just descended upon and invaded by American forces, and the traumas that they experienced was kind of at the cost of all this political drama and whatnot. So, I mean, even with all that, I don't see the value in banning it, like in saying you can't try to tell this story. Like, at the very least, let them try. And I believe Empire said it earlier as well. Like if it turns out that it's not good, like it does kind of paint everything in a bad light, then that will be the critique of it, right? And then people can see it and either see that for themselves, or they'll know that that's how it turned out. Like these people who weren't Muslim and didn't really get a big Muslim perspective in the way that maybe you would need for a project like this, tried to tell a story and it fell on its face. And this is how you don't do this kind of project. You know, it'll be like an example or a case study in that way. But Ash, you said you wanted to go last in giving your thoughts.
Yes, I did.
What do you have?
All right, so quick, before I say anything, I just want to make sure people actually know this. I am half Arab. Half of my family is actually Muslim and live in the Middle East currently. There's only a few of them that live here. So before I say anything, I want everyone to know, I can say what I want. All right, I'm done. Obviously, I don't speak for all Arabs or all Muslims, but I don't want anyone to try to say, oh, this is how he feels, he's insensitive. Like, no, I'm very sensitive on the topic because it applies to like half of my family and their way of life. So, I'm also kind of feeling the same way when it comes to Jeff. Like when I grew up with my dad and I play games like Call of Duty, where the main people you were going against might have been some country in the Middle East, usually like Iraq or something, right? And I'm playing through there and like, oh, Dad, come look and watch me play. My dad never had an issue watching me play. My dad never had an issue watching any movies where Arabs or Muslims, because technically you don't have to be a Muslim to be Arab or Arab to be Muslim. But whatever the case may be, when they're the main antagonists, he had no issue watching. He still enjoyed the films. He just enjoyed the entertainment. Now, obviously, this one's more based on an actual real event. Like obviously in Call of Duty, they might like choose certain areas where things might have happened during those actual wars in World War I, World War II, wherever the game setting may take place in. But it's definitely like, you know, you're playing like a Hollywood experience, right? You know that it's not like supposed to be based on true events. It's just more or less inspired. So this one's meant to be more accurate, right? They're going for accuracy here, and like they said, well, one side of the coin said as more like a documentary, interactive documentary. So I can understand why that can make it more sensitive to people, especially those who are directly affected by it, or even those just from neighboring areas in the Middle East for what happened. I can definitely understand that. Me personally, though, also like Jeff said, I don't think I can see this, or actually all of you said, I don't see this inciting violence. I can understand the worry about it. I can, because I know how it was, especially after certain attacks, and how people felt towards Arabs in the Muslim community in general over the actions of some, to then over people who were citizens in America for years before certain events happened, and now just don't see and looked at them very differently. I do think that's something almost like a bias, and like people said, in their hearts that they had beforehand, before they started feeling like that. Because I also agree with, I think Lampy said it earlier, that there's no real correlation between violence and video games. If anyone who was performed violent acts like shootings and such played a video game and they play video games, they were already more than likely going to do something like that anyway. And I don't even think the video games tilted them towards that direction. If anything, they were probably using those video games as an outlet before going to that direction. So I don't know. The only game I ever really felt like needed to be banned was a game called Hatred, if you guys remember that one, where the literal plot is being a misanthropic mass killer. And then just going to, like, there's not, at least like in other games, you know what I'm saying, there's like an actual narrative, there's a cause for the violence, even if it might not be the right thing. Like there's someone's cause and their reasoning for it, right? So like obviously in a war, there's always two sides. One side thinks they're right, the other one thinks they're wrong. But at least that side has like something somewhere that says, this is why we're doing it, this is why we feel like we're right. It may not be right, but at least they have like an actual cause or motive that they think is best for them, their country, their people, whatever. So games like Hatred, I know like freedom of speech and all that stuff and what have you. I think it was a little too much because it was just literally like, here you go, be a mass shooter. That's a lot. Yeah. This game,
like with Hatred specifically, like that game crashed and burned, right? Like, because it came
Yeah,
out,
and
it
crashed and
had
burned.
no merit. Like, it wasn't telling a story, wasn't doing anything. So it was able to be released, and everyone saw like there's nothing to this.
And they were able to put that out and still, and that's why I like, even though because I do believe in like things of freedom of speech and stuff. So even though personally I have feelings thinking I don't think that game should be put out. I would hate for parents who just don't know better, for like some still don't understand ESRB ratings or anything, and just let their kid play something like that. But thankfully, the game did sizzle out on its own, which thank you, humanity, for showing me that you guys can do something. So one, I think the game would be fine to be released. Two, I would hope that, like they said, that they don't villainize a specific nationality or region or religion or anything like that. Because I do think that it could be a very informative, educational experience for someone to play through, to learn more. Because I remember my dad told me about this before. Excuse me, when I was learning, because whenever I learned something in the Middle East about when I was in school, I would always just go to my dad immediately, like, "Hey, Dad, this is what I'm learning. You know about this?" And like, "Yeah," and then he'll tell me stuff. That was always the funnest part. Like when I tell you guys that, at least for like as much people, as flight people give Call of Duty and stuff, they actually went out of their ways. Whenever you see like Arabic or something on the walls or in signs, all of it made sense. Like it was actually supposed to be there. They didn't just like copy paste the same few Arabic letters all over the place. Like, no, they actually, they did basic research and at least got some experts, I'm sure, to like make sure things made sense. Because I'd always was like, are they actually speaking Arabic? What are they saying? So as long as they like at least take some care into talking to people, if they talk to more, I don't know if when they say someone said they spoke to 26 Muslim civilians, I don't know if they were trying to find people who are actually directly impacted by the battle, and maybe that's why they're having trouble not getting as many Muslim side, or if they're just talking to random people who are Arab or Muslim in America who may not even have been affected by it in the slightest. I don't know who they're pulling.
I mean, to their credit, I do think they have people who were in the city even. Like,
okay. See, and that might be harder for them to get. So that might explain why the number is less. So if that's the case, at least I see them trying. So if they're trying, I don't have a problem with it. Even less than if they only had American soldiers. But it's nice. It feels like they're trying based off of what they say. Obviously, I haven't played the game. I wouldn't be able to certify anything at the end of the day. But I think the game should be released. I don't think it should be banned. I understand the worry, especially from those who are across the ocean. They might not really know how people feel in a more general sense in America about them anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of things that they might not be seeing in media about what's actually going on in our country to even know how people feel about Arabs or Muslims in a general sense, versus what they definitely knew after, again, certain events happened a while back, catastrophic things that were horrible, and how obviously that made people feel back then, and how things may have changed to now. So I think that might just be it. They're just a little worried for good reason, because things were bad for a time, for a little bit, but that, I don't know, there just needs to be more communication. Let them like, hey, no, it really should be okay. Just need someone to really like kind of give them an update, I guess, on how things are and how games are handled, and give them examples, just education on the matter. And I think every side would be fine.
I do wonder how much, like you're saying, like there needs to be more communication. Like I doubt that Highwire went and talked to any of these Muslim rights groups at all. Right. Consulted with any of them before.
They probably even think about it. Like,
yeah. And that can be problematic in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, like, let them make the game. Like, I don't think it should be banned, but stuff like this, like the misstep of not talking to any Muslim communities and stuff, should be noted. So if someone does want to do something like this in the future, like, you would know. Like, I'm not going to sit here as someone outside of a community and make a game and try to tell those people's story without going to any entity that supposes that represents those people, or those people themselves or whatnot, like not getting their okay or their stamp of approval before proceeding with this stuff, because it doesn't look well.
Yeah. And on your point for exactly that, if it is a documentary and the point is to understand it, then those are people they should be talking to.
Yep.
Like, if they understand the subject matter, and so the people making the game should be talking to them.
And it can't be a one point of view video game where a lot of times you just play through as this protagonist or whoever this is, and you only see that the enemy is the enemy, and there's no humanity to him or anything like that. I think it needs to be something that's played from maybe one part is played as from this side, and another part is played from this side, so that way you get to see what each group was going through as this was unfolding.
Yeah, there is no real quick, just because there is a they said that there's a section of the game where you play as a civilian trying to get their kids out of the city. I don't know how expanded that is. It might be like a one-off thing versus the rest of the military shooting style stuff. But there's something like that in there. May not be enough, but they at least tried to go for that. It seems like.
And
yeah, go ahead, Ash.
The last point I wanted to make for myself too, because I remember in the article, whoever wrote it, they're like, how do you make a video game like this one without glorifying the U.S. war machine or anything or like that, or villainizing the people and spreading fear and hate is what they actually said. The person who wrote the article, and I was like, honestly, spoilers coming for Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Their narrative, because their whole thing when they started was like, hey, this is going to be really gritty. We're going to try to showcase actual war, right? And in to their effect. In there, like I said, stuff is coming up for spoilers. So if you didn't play it, you want to play it, don't listen. There's a moment where you're coming through and there's a man with a civilian has a bomb strapped to his chest. You're trying to get it off. You can't. You push him over a ledge. He has to go or everybody else dies. Like you have to make quick things like that. People die. And then you get to the point where you're going against the enemy. You're raiding a home at nighttime and you got the night vision on and all that stuff, right? There's a woman who's like going to reach for it looks like she's going to reach for a baby, but she actually goes to reach for a gun first, and you have to take her out. Like you don't feel good while you're doing it, while you're clearing the house and you're raiding the house. It's not a good feeling. You're like, oh man, these are literally people living their lives here, and I have to go and raid this house right now because there's association with the actual enemy that's going on. You have to make sure you don't shoot the actual civilians, have nothing involved and stuff like that. All the way up until there's a moment in the game where there's a woman who was a part of the rebel forces that is helping you because the government is corrupt or whatever. And you play as her when she was a little girl and her town got bombed. So it gets bombed, hurt, and rubble falls on top of her. She looks over, her mom is dead. Like this is a bombing is happening, which my dad's from Beirut, Lebanon, and Beirut's been destroyed a decent amount of times just in history, not even just through just modern day war. Like it's just been destroyed. It's on the port. It's a very good place to be in control of for trade. So people fought over it a lot. And my dad was living there during a big bombing too. And I had him watch that part and he's like, yeah, that's honestly how it felt when it happened. Like it's just, everyone's going crazy. So, she gets out of the rubble, her dad and her brother are running back to the house. There's gas that people are throwing around. They have to share a gas mask between them till, I think it's the game had it was like with Russians or whatever this time. Then the guy comes in, and when I tell you this is the most exciting part of the game too, this not realistic but exciting. The guy comes in, he kills the dad, knocks out the older brother. A little girl trying to survive as her cities is being destroyed. She's like crawling through the vents, trying not to be seen by this Russian soldier and everything. I was like, if they can have, like you said, when they're trying to escape, if there's moments like that where they like talk to the civilians and try to take their actual stories of what they were going through and how they survived through that moment and make you play through that. So you feel the fear, like you were just playing as a soldier a minute ago, but now you're playing the fear of someone trying to just not die today. I feel like they can do a really good job of encompassing that feeling and actually making it feel like a documentary feel.
Wow. So you're saying there is a value in trying to do what they're trying to do.
Oh, yeah, because I feel like Modern Warfare, even though it's very Hollywood-esque at the end of the day, like it did a good job of making me feel, and after playing both sides, because you're on both sides literally at that point, it's just like, yeah, no, there's innocent people here who have nothing to do with what's going on, and they're just trying to not die today. And if you make someone feel that way, there's no way you can't come out of the game and be like, oh yeah, I can't stand Arabs or I can't stand Muslims or whatever racist comment you might come up with in your head, I guess. Like, there's no way you could feel that way. You'd have to just not play that section of the game, like, oh, I don't want to do this, and just throw it away and already feel that way beforehand.
Right. Yeah.
So
I get you.
I think it'd be really, a good thing, if anything.
Okay. Any other final thoughts, or we want to give Ash the last word there? I think that's a pretty poignant perspective myself. All right, so we're going to wrap up today's show. Thanks to everybody watching. Thanks to everybody here who did the show with me. Very much appreciated. Jeff, where can people find you if they're looking for your stuff on the internet?
So you can find me on Superman Jeff 12 across all social media. You can check out the Open Party YouTube page. We got a couple of shorts up there that have been popping.
Yeah.
We also will be playing Monday Night Siege tomorrow. Might ban KC, might not let him come around and start killing kids. I don't know. But we will be there.
We're both team killers, Jeff.
Casey was like not amused, not just me.
Oh man, can I get on this sweet team killing action?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
The more the merrier.
Maybe this hashtag Jeff was right.
Imagine starting a game in Siege and like within 2 seconds the whole team is dead except one person. You're like, what is going on? Their team must be arguing with each other on Discord. I don't know.
All right, that it for you in terms of stuff to plug, Jeff?
Yeah, definitely check out the Omniverse comic discussion, which is also on the YouTube page. We'll be back the following week, and we will be picking a winner for the comic giveaway. So if you want some free stuff and you haven't subscribed already, make sure to go ahead and head over to the Superman Jeff 12 page and subscribe. We already announced one of the items in the package. It'll be a Red Sun Superman action figure, and we'll have a couple other things in there too for everybody.
Nice. Cool. How about you, Jesse? What do you want the people to know you've been working on?
Oh man, all sorts of stuff. You can always check me out on Twitter. The handle up there, RexConJesse. I just got to release my latest behind schedule, which I realized I forgot to mention at game night yesterday because I've been doing it so often, and I forgot that one. So Alone in the Dark from Behind Schedule is now out on The Escapist and on their YouTube page for everybody. It was early access, now it's there for everybody. And then you can check out me on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/RexConJesse. I do all my behind schedule streaming and some other stuff. So I'll be there tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern, playing the next game I'll be doing for behind schedule. And then I do...
mysterious.
Yeah. And I do the Twitching Hour on Thursday nights from 5 to 7 with my friend Rainbow Blight. And for all your tabletop RPG goodies, you can go to rexconjesse.itch.io because I have a bunch of stuff on there, including the new big book of status effects for fun, reimagined, and new status effects to make combat more exciting in RPGs. Yeah. So stuff. Check it out. Reddit. Everything. That's my name. I'm done now.
Awesome. How about you, Ash? What do you want to plug for the people?
Oh yeah. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Ash Redux. And let's see, today, I'm actually not even going to be streaming anything today, but you know what I will be doing? I'll be on that Smash Sunday. That's right, Lampy. I'm going to be on that Smash Sunday. It's going down. Can't wait to ban Ash already. Jeez.
Like before it even starts.
Oh
Ash
my
banned.
God. What else we got? Oh, we also got coming up later on this week. I'm going to be starting a new series. What is that series? I actually don't know yet, but here's the thing. I have a light above my head that does this, so you should show up. So that's all I got for you.
Wow. That's impressive. That's impressive.
Impressive. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
All right. As you guys all know, you can follow me at SigmaGears9 on Twitter as well as Twitch. You're probably watching this on Twitch right now. In fact, you have to be because I don't know how else you'd be hearing this. It's live on Twitch. It's the only place it is right now. Just yesterday, a new episode of Sigma and Sun dropped. I was streaming with Starboy in the morning. The VOD for that will be on the Open Party YouTube channel today. I just haven't posted it yet, but it'll be there today. So check that out. It's good fun streaming with him. The following Saturday, I'll be streaming with Kia, my new fiance. If you guys didn't know, I proposed to her this past Thursday. Don't have a date yet for an actual wedding.
I'm invited.
But Ash has invited himself.
Oh.
So at some point, I guess details will go out about that to the people who need those details. Everybody doesn't need those details. But anyway, other than that, like Ash mentioned, 2:30 p.m. Eastern today, Super Smash Sunday. We'll be going till 5:30, so that's 3 hours of Smash time. Come early if you want to get in on the matches, like be there right at the start because the room fills up quickly. We may rotate people in, but honestly, it's kind of a pain. So it might just be the first, the first people there will get to be there for as long as they want to be there.
Be honest with the people, man. Be honest.
Right? Yeah, I can't help but do that. After that, tons of streams in the following week. I'll be on the Escapist, not the Escapist show. What am I talking about? I'll be on the Editor's Hour with Nick tomorrow, followed by the first of the Alien Isolation streams, which is me playing through Alien Isolation because Nick was mad that I jokingly called him racist that one time.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
It's a big misunderstanding, but the people raised money for me to play through that game. So we're gonna start that Monday nights. I believe it's gonna be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until I get through that game, and that game is not super short, so who knows how long it's gonna take.
I pray for you.
Followed by either the Post of Your March / Throwback streams on Tuesday at 4, and then those nights now we're gonna be playing Monster Hunter Rise with Nick and Amy, with myself, Nick and Amy. So that should be fun. You guys were asking for that as well. Then stream with the open party maybe on Thursday, Friday. Saturday game night, and then the whole thing starts all over again. It's getting tiring, guys. Donate more money.
Donate more money.
We're living.
But once again, I thank everybody for coming through and watching us talk about these very sensitive topics. I appreciate my guests so much. I'm glad you guys kind of seem to like doing this show with me. Like, it's a fun time having to talk to you. So I appreciate it every time you say yes to me asking you to come through. Thanks, chat. Thanks, hosts. That's it for episode 23. Peace.